Livian, overcome. My ancestors stepped on them with no mercy. They faced the same things that they did me. Karma was hammering them like when carpenter driving nail. Disease and sickness reached them that had no cure, and no healer could help them or heal them. They faced the full dose of karma. I overcome and shame them. I went up when they wanted me down. My blessing flow, and they had to watch me receive everything that they wanted to block from me spiritually. My divine spouse returned to me, and death reached them that wanted to stop us from coming into union. Our path was clear. Spiritual destruction reached them like text message to phone. They encounter the meaning of 54, but it was too late to undo what they did. They meet roadblock every turn they turn. Their path was slippery and dark, so they stumble and fall. My ancestors returned to them their own iniquity and black magic, so they could taste what they all were given. Their every spell and curses manifested on them instead of me. I defeated them with their own plots and plans. None that rise up against me prosper. They face the hardship more than a black sheep of a family. Every ounce of evil that they sent to me went back to them and feast on them like hungry dogs to their fowl. They made trouble and got turned over like a weak man trying to push loaded barrel. All that belongs to me rushed to me with no delay or hesitation. I overcome and prove to all haters that I am is within me, and no force could defeat me because I know who I am. Spiritual bullet tear them apart like tiger claws to flesh. Some wanted to cry creed, but only grave and casket was their only option. God strike them like upset mother beating her child. It was war and not peace. Spiritual war came to them, and they had no choice but to fight to the death. Them that wanted to sacrifice me were being taken up off the roadway like shovel to sand. The fight was real, and all who thought they were going to get away got a full dose of what they saw. All that was stolen from me got released with speed. They had to watch me grow, and none could cut me down. God raised me up and shamed them. They had to live with the fact that no matter what they did, I was striving instead of suffering. Karma showed up in their life like the sun in every day and burned them like stove to cooking pot. Water couldn't out them. Spiritual fire blazed them out of existence. I overcome all the fight that they put up. The spiritual MP5 destroyed them and left them chopped up like sharp cutlass to cane. My path got cleared with the spiritual machine gun. My foes got casket and grave. I overcome. I left them worried, stressing over what they could have done to stop me. But it was too late to catch me. I kept going up like a kite that got away on a windy day. All the haters were being put to shame to see that I turned my dreams into reality. My support got increased, and all traps and evil intent towards me and my divine spouse got cancelled. Overcomer was written beside my name by God and the Lord. Seal. Livian, war zone. They were posing like 6, but they were double blank. They were only good for ganging up like dog in mating season. They were weaker than a rum head. The spiritual dragon was spraying fire on them like fire torch at an event. The spiritual eagle fly and spot out their hiding. The spiritual snake sneak in and turn them into the next meal. The spiritual tiger went in stealth mode and hunt them down one by one and left some spraying blood like a shake of soda. The war zone was not for amateur or newcomers. It was for professional only. Spiritual war it was, and not no negotiation. My enemies head roll like coconut that fall from tree down a hill. Them that were weak to flesh drop out like knockout boxer. My aim was for the belt, and I got it with the help of the Lord and God. My spiritual SLR was loaded and ready with 5-star ice prick to stop falling enemies that were crying for mercy. They wake up sleeping tiger and now they wanted to put it back to sleep and die in the process. The Calico opened fire on them and roast them like burn up pork. Chinese K speak to them in unknown language. The R90 was on point, 357 was ignorant and kicking. Custom Pumpy was taking them apart like a 5-year-old boy to snow cone. I didn't love to speak, so the M16 speak loud so that my enemies could hear. I couldn't be stopped. Them that were not yet dead had to change course because I wasn't warning no more. Death took all that stand in my way. Glock 40 removed them like spoiled goods from shelf. They were haters pretending to have love, but none could fool me, none. I laugh at them thinking they could. Some wish on shooting star for me to fall, but instead of falling, I kept going up, full speed. I wasn't afraid to burst head, especially theirs. My spiritual gun were ever loaded to shoot to kill. I know they were wicked and deadly, so I gave them no room to call for reinforcement. The only call that was made was for the mark to come and collect their corpse. They were experiencing things they never knew would come to pass. When I used to warn, they laugh and make mockery of me. Now their dinner table was full, and all who got invitation from the year before couldn't show up in the new year. Death invited them elsewhere. Fear started to take them over because all that they sent to destroy me, the Lord reversed it on them 999 times stronger. They throw their partner good, so God make sure they got their draw on time. Some puke like a baby that got shake up after consuming mother milk, but no amount of words could let them go free. They had to pay. Seal. Livian. No escape. Spiritual rifle shot. Remove hand from body, like sharp bill to tree limb. No escape for none of my enemies. They got slaughtered on the spiritual battlefield, like lion executing a wild pig. Spiritual rocket launcher, land on their base, like professional pilot landing a plane on a runway. Them and their crew were being found, burned up like plantain in well-hot oil. All blockers got paged instantly, and all gatekeeper got a 1-bedroom at 201 Graveyard Heights. Stubborn they were, so God showed up with fire and flames them out of their hiding, and the Lord strike them with death. I wasn't the only one they tried to kill to gain riches. They killed many before me, but I was the one with the knowledge and the gift to put them to shame, and I did. They had to carry the crosses that they watched me carry in the past. Now it was my time to watch them reap all the seed that they sow. I used to warn them, and they ignore. Now they wish they didn't did what they did, but it was too late. Karma lock off all escape route. I saw them on the spiritual battlefield, stretched out on the ground, with blood running from their mouth, like a teething baby, and body full of spiritual bullets. Their calves were being picked up by the spiritual scavengers. Some were being eaten while they still breathe. I consider them insane for thinking they could defeat God with their petty witchcraft. The Lord bless me with more power, and I unleash on them like wildfire in corn peas. The spiritual R90 wasn't sticking, and the short-mouth AK was singing a song they didn't love. M16 stamped them like stamp to receipt. 357 kicked them like upset bull to wolf. And MP5 was chanting the go home song. The Glock 40 tear them and enter in them like a man into a virgin girl. Thompson makes some dance and chuck over wall like a hurdler. I reveal to them a next level of spiritual badness so they can see that my prayers are not weak but deadly and effective. When some see the level of fire that I was pushing, some run leaving millions. Oh, scar, asset, but no escape. They had to pay for all the evil that they did to me. Chaos was taking them like hungry mosquito to naked baby. Karma was pouring out on them like a fall over a cliff. And even when their cup was full, they still had to drink. God ignored them when they cry for mercy, as if that word was no longer in existence. They were traitors, so the spiritual assassin execute them silently while they sleep. Their blood plain sheet from white to red. No escape was the assignment. When some see the force of spiritual tsunami, they stand with their mouth open like a crocodile catching flies, because there was nowhere to run. When I scanned the battlefield, there was no rival, for the Lord taught me well. So all dropout students that didn't finish class couldn't defeat me. They taste the dust when they try. I was their superior, as much as how they ate that I passed all the tests. They had to bow when I approached. Seal. Healing Jenga people, you don't know Livian again with another topic. Today we are going to talk about judgment. You ever meet up on some people and be things that reach them and they must say, me not do nobody nothing. All type of things they must say. Well, me are going to explain judgment today. Livian, going forward. I saw them teaming up against me, like gang member keeping a meeting. But I wasn't afraid of them, because the Lord was by my side, and the cloak of God was upgraded, so no attack could pierce my shield. They had to watch me going forward, like a big icebreaker, tearing apart all that was placed to keep me stuck. I was like the fire in dry bush. I blaze and burn all my enemies to death. Going forward was on my mind, so no stagnant energy could hold me down. All that seek to hold me, last hand, eyes, ears, foot, deadly punishment was applied to them, and reversible curse took them when they tried trickery with me. Appliance stop work, car crash, source of income crash, like plane, saving got sucked away by scammer. They face difficulties in every area of their life. God wasn't playing with none that wished to stop me from going forward. They were so focused on me, and I took all the energy and manifest my heart desire and left them at the same spot, hungry and tormented. It was mental and spiritual war, and I wasn't backing out. I was firing the spiritual AK on them with no second thoughts. K12 was loaded and spitting like a nail gun. I saw them going to funeral because they were so stuck and destroying me that they lost their life in the process. Some of the witches were bleeding, and the more they attack me, they bleed harder and harder until they bleed to death. No mercy was shown to wicked that were going out of their way to destroy me. They face instant destruction with every attempt to oppose me. When I look on the battlefield, some were crawling with hand missing, foot broke, bleeding from nose and ears and eyes, and some were vomiting when they see how their friend head open like jelly. Some were trying to run, but my spiritual army was giving the order. No survivor. Some got beaten with the SLR handle, like Samson beating his enemies with donkey jawbone. I could see in some, because the spiritual nuclear bomb opened them. They were wicked and evil, so I didn't sorry for them. No more warning or message. The messengers came back as assassin and hitman. Nowhere was too far. My ancestors from near and far rise to my aid and push out all that stand in my way, near and far. Obia boy and witch gal, own spirit feast on them, non-stop. Spiritual war in the ice farm. They never witnessed nothing like this before. Spiritual bear claws, bust them open like sharp knife to chest. No sympathy to the warlock. Death, death, death. Spiritual lion bite their head and crack skull like finger to roast peanut. Spiritual raging bull and went through them like sewing eagle to close. They didn't want to move, so I introduced them to the dark side. Spiritual bill remove head from body like crane removing container from ship. Woy, woy, woy was their cry. That made it worse. Spiritual ice prick stuck in the head of the sorcerer that were doing dolly ritual, and them that were doing ritual over my social media pages. They got sick and die. No mercy, no mercy, no mercy to no iniquity worker that worked to hold me down. None. Some were being found like last wallet, stiff like dry cement in steel pipe. They made their order, so I deliver what they were asking for. War showed up at their doorstep. Spiritual war. Hit them like an armed drone, taking out its enemy. I got spiritual intel on their location and feed them warm bullet like mother feeding baby with warm porridge. I wasn't afraid because they only had strength for them that were unaware but couldn't pass the first round with me. They were a baby in man farm, child still in need of mother support, and them that were doing sex ritual thinking they could get me in bed. I told them to go bathe because I smelled them from a mile. Pretty face and eyes but smell like stale vomit. They wanted me down and they had to watch me go up, 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 up. Seal. Livian. Judgment. They pay for every ounce of wrong that they did me. The spiritual short mouth pumpy speak to them in gun language and fold them up like crushed paper out of a book. Judgment was what they were facing, and no one could help them. They had to feel exactly what they put me through. My image said vengeance. My word said vengeance. Even my steps said vengeance. My eyes said vengeance. The wrath of God burned them like live rot in deep atile. The more they tried to kill me, the more they buried their own child. They were thousands of miles from mercy, like a thirsty man that is 24 days away from water, and he can only survive 9 more days without water. Death was written beside his name, and them that see me and attack me. None face paradise. Judgment was what they face. My enemies were being caught spiritually and were being given gas to drink, then light. The wrath of my ancestors kicked them like a jug's lord, catching the snitch and kick him to death. The forces that was sent went back and slaughtered them in middle day, so the others could see the outcome when they trouble me. They love to collect, so they collect the spiritual binds until they drop and gap like a defeated wolf. Spiritual rifle shot tear them away like sledgehammer to old concrete wall. They never expect me to slay them, but I was given a task to eliminate all foes like knockout football team that last round of 16 match. When they started to take me seriously, it was too late because 25 Graveyard Avenue was their new address. My spiritual death squad wasn't holding back. They faced the ultimate disappointment for life. The witches that trouble me without me troubling them were being tied up to a old dry out oak tree and gas and light spiritually. Blindness took them that tried to scam with my name, and also them that tried to sell my belongings without my permission. No mercy to none that tried trickery with me and my business. The spiritual dragon blazed them out to ashes, and the spiritual tiger bite out their neck and left them bleeding out like a wine out of broken bottle. The spiritual python snake wrapped them up and swallowed them like baby to breast milk. They couldn't hear, so they feel. They started war, so I circled them with the spiritual sniper squad and sniped them out from a distance and leave them worried. Some urinate on themselves and some run. It was a waste of time. Death knock on their door like a delivery man. I step with the ancient ancestors and speak language to them that made demons bow and dumb all who rise their tongue up against me. My fire gun blazed them out like boardhouse that got gas and light. Mercy fall asleep and I wanted not to wake it. They were troublemakers, so I had to make them see the full wrath of the sun. Nowhere was safe, not even under the water cave. Their existence was erased and sent a message to the others that God is back, not with water but fire. Spiritual flames consumed them, west, east, north, south. Some were screaming like a virgin girl that got cornered by 6 heartless rapists. They did me wrong and drink champagne and make fun of me. Now their heart got popped out of their chest and left them bleeding out like a wine bottle that got broken. I stepped to them spiritually with the help of my ancestors, and I showed them no sympathy. They all were being slayed like how they tried to do me and others that came before me. I watched them trying to kill me and got erased clean like a Dunk's child book. They got chopped with the spiritual bill and left them kicking like a cow that got stabbed by a butcher. Murder, murder, spiritual murder was the assignment. I warned them, but they listened not. Now they all had to face the spiritual flames. Seal. Livian, fight back. Them that make trouble with me saw more hungry days and night, more than what they could bear. They got turned over with their own evil intent, like an overloaded truck down a hill. They felt the hands of my ancestors when they tried to oppose me with spiritual wickedness. They got stitched like a crest to a schoolboy shirt. Karma strike them like venomous snake and poison them with their own wicked intent. They lay on the spiritual battlefield, lifeless like a cow that got stuck in the ark. War was what they started, and when it reached at their foot, they started to complain that I was wicked. Some take my picture and plant it in the casket for me to mad out. Was that not wickedness? Some take my clothes and bury it at graveyard for me to come out to nothing in life. Was that not wickedness? Some pay for my destiny to be altered and black so that I live and be a lost soul. Was that not wickedness? Some did ritual for me to be blind so that I can't see to do my purpose. Was that not wickedness? Some went as far as under the sea to bury me in battle so that my path will be dark. Was that not wickedness? They cry for mercy, but none was shown. God showed them the rough side, that they all wanted to remain asleep. They stumble trying to run and fall on pinted rocks and decay in the sun. And ants and worm fight for a spot in their corpse. Disaster was taking them without warning, for God had enough of them and their stupidity. Many warning greet them, but they play deaf and continue to send me demons and spirit to harm me. So my ancestors rise up on them, the 24 death squad, and attack them like 600 tiger, attacking to kill out the breed of wolf. The ground was damp with their blood. They lose body parts like a rude child dismantling a dolly. It was war, not in the physical, so many couldn't see the cause of their death. They make trouble and got laid out like a cut down coconut tree. Their own ancestors protected them not, because they mess with a high-ranking being and got a lesson that they would never forget. My hard work and blessing got them confused. While I was walking and selling my roots, they laugh and say I was mad for walking in the sun hut with bottles in my hand. They call me a fool for looking good and not having 33 women. But I learned from my past life mistake, something that they can't comprehend with their human mind. So I break it down for them. Samson, Solomon, David, all the names that got captured by the eyes of lust. She defeated me many times, but I returned with the knowledge how to look in her eyes and pass her as if she was not in existence. I defeated her and won the bet, and she had to give to me what was promised. I defeated them spiritually and remained silent, for my ancestors taught me not to shout for joy, but to remain humble and disciplined. The war was long and stressing, but I gave up not. I pressed on like a camel through the desert with water on its back. So that meant forward and no stopping. My own deprived me of my birthright, but I quarrel not, for the reward of my hard work paid me for all that I went through and for all the blows that I took. The Lord multiplied my loss by 9 and blessed me with a treasure full of gold. I clap myself for not giving up, for if I did, I would have regretted it for the rest of my days and night. When I looked, most of the demons were hiding in the church, pretending to be saints, but they were more deadly than a tick. They wanted to suck away my energy with hugs and shake hands, but I saw them in the spirit, and they thought they could trick me with a smile, holding Bible in hand. But I know Christ for myself, and Christ was no church attender, for Christ was within self and can only be activated when a man or woman decide to follow purpose. When I found out the truth, many wanted me dead, but the more they tried to kill me, the more casket, the funeral home had to purchase to put them in. I watched them sink, and nothing that they tried worked. They all failed to defeat me. I overcome and destroy them with fasting and prayer, and use faith to cut their neck like a chef to a butterbean tin. I rise up on them like a river overflowing its bank and wash them away. The more they attack me was the more they die. Karma was taking them like the sun in every day. What they wanted to take me and my divine spouse backfired on them and placed them into a permanent one room. They thought they could stop me, but they all failed. See,
Livian, troublemakers.
my foes threw on their disappointment like donkey to cane bump. Failure was with them, in and out of every season. Troublemaker they were, so I sorry not for them. I witnessed them fall off instead of me. I see them drown in their own chaos. I watch them wake and sleep in their own mess. As punishment, I see their most loved child die in car accident.
Some were being found on the sidewalk, face down with their blood running in nearby bushes. Some found in bed unable to wake, and some was killed by their own spouse. What they saw was what they all got back. I didn't lift a finger. I sit aside and watch them all sink like a ship, sink like a ship, sink like a ship. They only could talk when the moon was full and when their ring was loaded. But I needed not their kind of power, because my power was always active and never run out. My source of power was within me, and none could cut me down. None. Some commit suicide when they saw what was taking others, and they know that they were next. I introduced them to spiritual badness and change the game. I walk with a spiritual squad that obey my every command, so none that oppose me and try to destroy me live. They pass away like an old age victim. The spiritual cobra spit in the eyes of all monitoring spirit and blind them. The same shop and house that they were fighting me for, they had to leave and go back to their birdness. I told them that I was going to make them pay for making trouble with me, but they doubted me, so I returned their own evil back on them and watched them running from witch to Obeahman seeking help, but none could help them. They spent every cent seeking help and got none. They were warned, but they listened not. Now the table have turned. Now they are on the defense, begging and pleading for mercy, but none was shown, for they show me none. They woke up the spiritual dragon, and fire consumed them like dry wood to flames. Troublemaker they were, so I showed them what spiritual chaos looked like. The spiritual bull bucked them and trampled them on the floor. All who did binding spell on me to stop me from going forward were being thrown in the spiritual lion pit to feed the hungry bellies. And for them that did reading on me without my permission, their gifts were being deactivated until the lessons were learned. I quarrel not with them. I use the laws of the universe and destroy all who thought they had me all figured out. I use faith and cut the neck of them that sit in high places and were doing their best to shut me out. The spiritual hitman went in assassin mode, and they collapsed over their dinner table while having meal with family. They thought I had to be near them to flush them, but little did they know that even if they were in a different dimension, none could get away from God. None. Some were planning to ban me, but they didn't wake up to carry out such act. I used them as an example to show others that this is the outcome when they go against me and what I was born to do. My purpose couldn't be deactivated, no matter how hard they try. They got eliminated trying to. Door blockers got shot and stabbed spiritually to move out of my way. All pull down energy got confronted by my spiritual death squad, and none lived to see the next sunrise. I command the spiritual tiger to kill them all and done when they plan to kill me, and to show no mercy to none. They had house but couldn't live in it, had food but had no appetite, because chaos and disaster were beating them like a jockey to horse seal.
Livian, spiritual shootout. Spiritual Uzi make fat man and woman run faster than a slimmers. K12 wasn't itching. Desert Eagle make dog own. That mean a life just pass. It was spiritual shootout, so the feds couldn't arrest my spiritual gang. The war was spiritual and mental, so them that came with chatting, I ignored them. The witch that did binding ritual on me got her mirror splashed like red paint to wall. The warlock got bullet until his own blood drowned him. The sorcerer were being picked up by the parlor for burial, or 90 clap and kick them in middle day. My ancestor didn't wait for it to dark up. Middle day spiritual badness. Some tried to flee and bullet run them down and tackle them. They were wicked and deadly, so I had no regrets putting them on the removal list. They wanted to block me like how they did others, and China K tear them up like a cheating wife tearing up a letter that she got from her man on the side. They wanted to figure me out, but they couldn't because I was unreadable like a dunksman's signature. Spiritual spy got blind and couldn't see to report. Some got ambushed. They were spiritual troublemakers, so I dealt with them harshly. Death was written beside their name.
My enemies got flushed like you styled paper. I didn't need to light fire for them. I wore them spiritually and mentally and left them on fridge and family getting ready to say their last goodbye. Their new home was decorated and painted. They were the new owner. They were the new owner of 68 Graveyard Crescent. Obia boy had to see me and wish me well because they know that if they trouble me, their family would be sending them off like a mother sending her child to school. When I step on the scene, some wanted to bully me, so I had to prove myself to them and open some head so the others could see that if they should cross me, this would be the outcome. I wasn't one-sided because when I was, they take set on me, but when I transform and know God for myself, they had to walk wide and far from me. I was sent to heal, but that didn't mean I was going to stand and let no one kill me. They were the first to go and join the dead. Spiritual shootout it was, and not no quarreling. I warned them. Some listen and back up, but some were stubborn like Taurus the bull. So I rise up the spiritual SLR and show no mercy. Some saying, alright, but it was too late for that. They couldn't hear, so they feel. They did so much to me and wanted to repeat, but they took them up like passenger bus picking up passenger. Them that were sent in spirit got a box from their front veranda to back of the yard. They play with science and it backfired on them. Their ending was written, so I worry not. They were like a ship sinking in a shark area and the small boats couldn't hold everyone. Seal.
Livian, spiritual AK. No intimidation, none. Pure action was what I brought to the table. Every word that I utter manifested on my enemies and showed them who I am. They felt the spiritual AK, bullet boring them like drill to concrete column. My foes mother ball like mother goat looking for a newborn kid. They never see the spiritual bomb that took them. They wanted to report me to the station, but it was spiritual war. I showed them how it was done, to delete enemies in broad daylight spiritually. My foes disappear like pig that went to drink water at a lake full of crocodiles. None survive. They didn't get hospitalized. They got tagged like new clothes and were being placed on fridge to cool down because they got burned up by the spiritual AK. My ancestors marched out on them and taught them a lesson they would never forget. I kept climbing like a mountain hiker, so no matter the obstacles, I always overcome and level up. Some wanted to use my child to drain me of my energy, and I cut them off without hesitation. I brought confusion to my foes because they couldn't figure me out. Bam 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 was the sound, and all who wanted to come forward had to take cover and hide when they see what happened to all who rise hands against me. My machine gun plucked them like foul. My M16 burned them up like jealous woman throwing hot oil on a man. My foes had to run away like a rat on fire seeking water. I gave them the full length of karma because they doubted me and laughed when I used to talk. Now they see the full effect of my spiritual death squad. When they attack me, I use spiritual militancy and bury every foe. I ignored them when they came to me with drama because I was not a circus, so I had no time for jokers or clown. Their estimation was wrong, so they were all being forced to redo the measurement. They wanted to pull me down, but none could. It was too late to defeat me. I found the secret power within and blast all that wish and seek my demise. I drive spiritual bullet in all my enemies, like carpenter driving nail in tough board. I cut them down one by one, like a soldier hunting the killers of his spouse. Blue Chapalin was selling again, so 10 could pitch for 9 night. Goat soup, cow skin soup, curry chicken and white rice was available for them that attend. The mark owner smiled because my enemies become a 1 mil package. They were talking, but I couldn't hear because I don't talk to dead. When they see that I overcome all that they sent to me, they wanted to call me boss, but I was smiling, planning in my head where to shoot them spiritually because I friend no foe, I only bury them.
My spiritual Thompson gun, stamp bullet in them like a woodpecker, proving that it's the best in the forest. They thought because I was saying God, I was a walkover. I set them ablaze and laugh and watch them burn out to ashes. Some run thinking they could hide from judgment, but none could. They were unbalanced, so I balanced them with the spiritual K and removed them from this dimension. No mercy to none that oppose me and my livelihood. Casket and grave were being introduced to the family to pick spiritual nuclear bomb them and erase them. When they send demons, I rise the spiritual demon slayer and let them see what power I had access to. I showed them that I was no walkover. I pronounced them spiritually dead and spot. I spit fire like a dragon, crush them like elephant to soft soil. My spiritual magnum and pumpy kick them like wild ass to biting dog. When they took them to the hospital, the doctor told them it was a waste of time. They should have just taken them to the morgue. Seal.
Livian, spiritual beating. My voice was like a whip on fire and tearing like sharp teeth to naked skin, thumping like undefeated boxer, shooting like a well-oiled machine gun, stabbing like ice pick to ice, stamping like stampede to ground, echoing like a lion roar in a cave, drilling like a drill to wall, rough like storm at sea, and gentle like a flowing river, calm and comfort to the soul, teach them that wish to learn, and beat all undisciplined soul. It was spiritual beating, and none could escape. My voice was everywhere. They were compelled to listen, whether they like it or not. I was here to help the soul, and every soul recognized my voice. The Spirit of God dwelleth within me, so I needed no approval from none. I need no invitation to join their organization. The Lord already invited me, and God already approved me. I am the vessel of the divine, and them that rise up to cut me down got eliminated before they could blink. The more they tried to sabotage my business and growth, the more their own business got struck heavily. I saw the sea remove them from the shore. I saw the river remove them from the banks. My ancestors were on my enemies like ants to sugar. My purpose couldn't be stopped. My name brought weight because I passed all the tests that was placed before me, and I defeated every witch and obeahman that rise up against me. All sorcerers were under my feet that seek my demise. The cloak of God cover me, and none could work iniquity on me. They all fail. Them that try to stop my progress, witness progress abandoning them to teach a lesson. Don't give what you don't want back. And them that were holding on to the mic and didn't want to pass it, had to give it to me in public, because the Lord assigned me to do a task that they couldn't do. Nature guided me to the others that were chosen to assist me with my task, and I know the spiritual seal, so no knockoff could trick me with illusion or black magic. None. The spirit of flames was within and burning like a never-outed fire. The message went far, and my brothers and sisters stand because the war wasn't physical, but mentally and spiritually. My army was ready to test out all new spiritual weapons on my enemies. My squad were in position, erasing all intruders. Many thought I was coming to warn, but the days of warning was over, and they were the ones that killed all the messengers. Now it was their time to face the wrath of the earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, and thunder. The elements were active and waiting on my command. Spiritual drive-by shooter went to the witch and obeahman that collect to hurt me, and spiritual bullets banking them like money to bank account. They were wicked, so God sent a more wickeder shooter to erase them and make the others see the outcome when they challenge me. I didn't need their friendship because I saw them spiritually talking and planning behind my back. But little did they know that the spiritual sniper had them zoom up in the scope, ready to fire and push them out like cow out of a moving truck. They were told to see me and trouble me and face chaos and destruction. See me and trouble me not and live your life. I didn't care who it was,
Once they oppose me with witchcraft or seek my demise, my kill anything that moves squad was ready, waiting to erase them like rubber to pencil writing. Spiritual beating took them. They were wicked in high and low places, so when I see them falling, I didn't say a word. They love to do to others, and when their own evil strike them back, they swell up like frog. But I wasn't looking any friend from them, so I care not what they think or say about me. I was given a task, and none could stop me from doing the Lord and God task.
Seal. Livian. Spiritual bomb. While they were plotting and planning against me, God was planning a spiritual raid to devour them in middle day. The Lord dropped spiritual bomb on them and left them lifeless like a fish out of water. My spiritual army was ready and equipped to destroy them where they stand. Spiritual silver bullet lodge in them like nail to wet board. Spiritual knife stab them like ornament to a prostitute. Spiritual fiery sword swing and eliminate head from neck like upset girl removing the head from a dolly. They thought I was going to run when they gang up against me, but I stand and unleash on them like a wild vicious tiger to its enemies and tear them up like rude boy tearing up school book. Spiritual bomb drop on them like Jew raid from the clouds, so no letter was accepted because I wasn't interested in their apology. They were only sorry that their plans to destroy me failed. I dodged their traps and attacked like a professional boxer, evading a punch. They were students trying to outshine the master. They started war and couldn't finish what they started. They threw oil and powder, thinking their small mind could hold me down. But I overcome them. The more they threw, the higher I went up and shamed them. Some started to bleed and smell like a woman that was seeing her period and haven't bathed for a month. They wanted trouble, so I delivered it to them for free. I said chop for all troublemakers and watch them fall in it because they were stubborn. They didn't burn with ears, so I used spiritual bullets and create a hole for them so they could feel and activate their hearing. Some wanted me in courthouse and jail, but they never got their wish. All traps and net were all being evaded, and I watched them drinking their own poison. They couldn't defeat me because I was trained by the Lord and God, so no knockoff could get me off my throne. My aim was set on my purpose and not them. They had to watch me glow and shine like the midday sun and the rising sun and the sunset. When they look, they see spiritual royalty, and none could take my treasure. All opposer passed away like a plant that got watered by salt water. While they were busy having sleepless night in graveyard, I was well rest, covered by the cloak of God, a shield that they had no access to. The Lord's sword was blazing with fire, ready to eliminate all that tried to harm me. The Lord promise manifested, and none could take my gift. None. Late night witches and warlock catch a spiritual fire when they send blows after me. All attack return to them and destroy them. Spiritual bomb drop on their doorstep and wipe them out. And all who follow their lead, seeking to destroy me. Chaos and destruction took all who rise up against me, and I trouble them not. Some were being thrown into a hole, then gas and light. They were cruel, so they felt cruelty. All werewolves that attacked me got silver bullets in their head and heart. All vampire that attacked me burn out to ashes. My foes were trying to get rid of me, but God said no. The earth opened and swallowed them. The sea get rough and destroy them. The wind blow and blow them from Pine Sea to O. Volcano erupt and blaze them out of their dwelling. War, war, war. Thunderball drop on some, and they fall instantly. Some pass away and tile its seat. Some drop asleep and bust and wake up not. Some freeze to death. The element was on my side. Some got caught in the act and rotting in prison. They play with darkness and got school. Spiritual A pop them in two. Spiritual python snake squeeze them until your eyeball jump out of socket. Spiritual mother bear rip them and left them to bleed out like a dead wolf. Spiritual tiger leap on them and feast on them like dinner to hungry prisoners. I war them spiritually and defeat them. They were baby pretending to be witch and obeahman. Their power was outer, my power was inner. They got slapped from all angles. My spiritual force was deadly and swift, so no hesitation. Some had to run leave their own place like fire forcing rat to leave his hole. Seal. Livian. Stubborn.
They were pretending as if they were high and mighty, and God cut them down like a man that got paid to cut down a tree. To me, they were just some don't like to bait stubborn fool that take out their power on the weak to feel relevant. All that rise up against me saw that I wasn't just talk. They saw spiritual action. Some were sending letter thinking they could bribe me, and I send it back to them, telling them they should have given me the help when I was down. But instead they kicked me and did all kind of evil to me. Now the Lord blessed me with the knowledge to bowl them out. The Lord and God was my only help, so I needed not their money. I commanded the spirit of poverty, bad luck, hold down, stagnant, misfortune, rejection to go back to sender and stick on them like poster to light post. Them that never wanted me to come in union with my purpose spouse got more destruction to face, more than what they could handle. They were stubborn, so the heat increased daily and nightly. The more they played stubborn, the more they saw things going downhill in their life. No peace for them that were alive. They felt the pressure and burst like plastic pipe. Some were playing stubborn, and the spirit of death plugged them off the life machine, and all the spells and curses that they place over my life lift up like a helicopter taking off. All spiritual chains got popped like elastic band. Spiritual attire was thrown in the ears of them that wanted to hold me down. My power increased, and I showed them what vengeance looked like. Their life was like a horror movie, chaos after chaos, bad news after bad news. They betrayed me and wanted me to treat them like royal, but they got spiritual royal bullets instead. None was left. They were being carried out like injured player off the field, but no recovery was written beside their name. It was gone too soon. They wanted to block my blessing, and my ancestors set them on fire. All that belongs to me flow to me. All doors got open that had my belongings. All that was for me, I claim it, and made my enemy's face swell like salt to frog. They celebrated New Year's January the 1st, but my New Year's was April the 1st. A new beginning, fresh start. The Lord and God bless me, and tears of joy run from my eyes. I broke the generational curse and set my bloodline free from the spirit of poverty, and my seed inherit my labor. All that was to be fall in place. Seal.
Livian, I stand and watch the witches, own destruction taking them, and none could evade the spiritual storm. Them that joined forces against me saw their own weapon backfiring on them with double force. Reaction was taking them like late workers to bus. Some cry mercy, but mercy was on suspension. They faced the same evil that they did to me. Some scream like a dog that got hit by a speeding car. And for them that hurt me spiritually, regrets was striking them like a slave master to a slave that he ate. They wanted to swallow me, so I gave them spiritual bullet to digest. Some team up and were doing their best to delete me, but I watched them deleting their own self because their plans backfired on them and wiped them out like janitor to unclean room. The more they tried to sink me, the quicker I came up and shot them and their gang with spiritual bullets. They were homeless, so their family paid for a spot at the cemetery and built them a one entrance and no exit room. All spiritual blockers that were blocking my business and my path were being gas and light like rubbish, and no water truck was available to out them because the firefighters were busy elsewhere out in a more needed to out fire, so they burned out to ashes. They were to be blamed. They provoked me, and when I react, they tried to make it look like I was the troublemaker. So I quarrel not. I set the spiritual bear on them, and it ripped them to pieces. They started war with me, and my spiritual army visit them and attack them from all angles. From the sky, the spiritual eagle spot out their location, and my spiritual death squad attack and flush them, leaving an unsolved mystery. They wanted trouble, so I introduced them to the spiritual tiger that removed limbs like sharp bill to cow foot. It was all spiritual, so no report could be made. They know it was me, but they couldn't do nothing because I was their karma, so I repay them with no hesitation.
When they found out that my ancestors were great spiritual warriors and I had high rank spiritually, they wanted to leave me, but it was too late for that. I'm sorry was not accepted. Spiritual lightning strike them and burst their head like a melon from a 90 feet fall on concrete. Some say I should forgive them. I did, but they had to face all that they did to me so they can learn to see people and leave them alone. No undivine spouse could get me in no bed, no matter how they came with charm. They fall in love with me and didn't know why. Their own potion backfired on them and left them obsessed. And for them that did hold down ritual over my social media pages, they witnessed destruction taking them from all angles. They were marked for a casket and grave seal.
Livian, Reprisal.
The battlefield was bloody, and my enemy's corpse laying down like a cut down tree. My foes witnessed high level of spiritual war. I showed them that God is within me, so they couldn't defeat me with trickery or full moon ritual. Spiritual AR-15, clap them like boy to biting mosquito. MP7 squeeze out on them like ear from burst tire. My AK crack skull and bones like hyena to gazelle corpse. Black 40 called their name and they showed up at the morgue in bag for their toe to be tagged. I introduced them to spiritual high power weapons that come with poisonous bullet, so even if they got scar, burial was next. They wanted to stop my business and their heart stopped beating. Reprisal energy was what I walk with, so all foes witnessed my dark side because I wasn't one-sided. As they lift a hand to hurt me, they got thrown to the spiritual sharks, to full empty bellies. They wanted to bind me and I showed them chaos. House burned down, car crash, business collapse like a heavy building with weak foundation. Their finance missing from saving without a trace. They couldn't blame me for what was taking them. I told them to leave me alone and they think it hard to. So I showed them that I know God for myself. Spiritual all crush them in many pieces. Thor I'ma dismantle them like a chef cutting up chicken to fry. I warn them no more. I show them what power look like. The same blockage that they tried to manifest on me took them for 25 years swiftly, no delay. Spiritual Chinese K, tear up heart and remove liver. Kidney got puncture, eyeball run out like cracked egg. Bullet remove teeth like professional dentist. Scene was more scary than a horror movie. Mother disown corpse because black become white and white become black. They started what they couldn't manage and got flushed like defecation. The Obeah told them to leave me alone, but they thought because they had money, they could do as they wish. All who did sex ritual to bind me become useless to woman for life, and woman become useless to man for life. They were heartless, so I showed them that I am not the one they should think of to hurt. I was their karma, so them that were talking, saying I was cruel, I told them to shut their mouth and stay out of it, because they had no clue what these pretenders did to me. They were being forced to step aside or be put aside. They thought they could do to me what they team up and did others, but they found out what was going on too late because they already made a move. I saw them for who they were, so I cut them off and watched disaster taking them one after the other. Seal.
Livian, separation.
The witches that did separation ritual over my life to keep me from my purpose spouse were being found in bed, lifeless and stiff like a dog that got frozen to death. They were blackers, so they were being removed from their bed like unclean sheet. Some got plucked out like fridge. Car hit down some as they crossed the road. Stray bullet fly in some and damage heart. Some drown at sea and river. Some die from a fall. Some choke on food and die. Death was a must because they didn't hear to leave me alone. They were out of order, trying to rewrite my story, and I took the book and pen from them and put them where they truly belong, at the cemetery. The spiritual sledgehammer destroyed the wall that was built between me and my purpose spouse, and my assassin squad eliminate all perpetrator and flush the builder of such wall. The star aligned, and all who wanted to see me and my purpose spouse not together had to watch me and my purpose spouse eclipse like the sun and the moon. Every hand that rise up to destroy destroy what the Lord and God ordained was missing and couldn't be replaced. Life jump out of all who did blood magic to keep me and my purpose spouse apart. All spells and curses reverse and caster and slap them for 6. Them that were in the corn piece working against me blaze out to ashes, and Raymond the firefighter couldn't out them. Some race but the course was black. Some said may like goat in pen. Hospital in Lionel was too far. They died on the way. Some got bucked by the spiritual cow. Some laid out on the farm. Their death was uncommon. None could escape their judgment. Various things took them until they confessed of what they did. Peer pressure was applied night and day. The Spirit of God was warring them for me. So I sit back and watch. They were tread, so light they were pretending to be heavy. There were 2 and not 4, so they couldn't pass. Some were dumpy when the spiritual SLR turned on them. All that rise up against me and my purpose spouse were found gapping for breath. No sympathy or mercy was shown, none. All their hold down and delay ritual pushed me faster instead of slower. I revealed to them the power of alchemists and left them stunned. I took their own energy that they sent to destroy me and manifest faster than before. The more they tried to destroy my life, the more the Lord and God blessed me and put shame on their face. My ancestors went to the enemy's camp with the kill anything that moved squad and took back all that was stolen from me. My purpose spouse was released and the gatekeeper was beaten, shot, stabbed, gas set on fire and hung. Spiritually, my destiny was released. All that held me spiritually catch a fire and couldn't out. Black fire consumed them and sent a message to the others that love to steal, kill and destroy, that they must not play with God.
Seed, Livian, purpose. My purpose manifests and left all that were hoping and praying for me to fail behind. They had to watch me do my purpose and none could stop me. I kept focused and the divine uplift me in their eyes. My goals went up and my wishes manifest and put shame to all foes. No form of sorcery could manifest on me. It backfired on all who tried. My enemies were forced to release all that was mine and were forced to come out of my way. The Spirit of God was making move that none could cancel. All doors that were blocked got open and all blockers choke on their saliva and die. My life was sweeter than honey and all thief experienced death as punishment. The Lord gave me new weapons and I exercised my trigger finger muscle and put all that rise up against me to rest spiritually. My business got larger and larger and none could block what was mine. They step on landmine when they try. When my enemies look at me, they could see that I was not alone and I was not afraid of them and what they thought they could do. All who opposed me before them were laying down in the cemetery, getting their permanent rest. Every trap that was set for me got cancelled by the Lord, and none that seek my demise got their wish. None. Spiritual machine gun made my enemies back up like crab and spread out like chapalin and floor. Desert eagle whistling them like a old man and put hole in them like drill to wall. My spiritual force were active and pushing out all purpose blocker and stopper. None could get close. My ancestors were my bodyguards, so all spirit that meant me harm got cramp and paralyzed. I was the talk of the town because every witch and obeahman that tried to take me down faced my spiritual army. Some had to abandon their assignment and some were found in bush with ants and worm having a feast and crows gathering for their share of the pie. I test out the spiritual ruga and the warlock and the outcome was death. Sorcerer that were taking people money to destroy me got flushed by the spiritual hitman. Some went in and didn't come back out to see the sunrise ever again. Spiritual PP7 and Thompson gun were spitting like a pregnant woman and kicking like a wild ass. My foes fear me because I wasn't leaving no stone unturned. They got turned over like a loaded truck and slippery road. Move out of my way and live. Stand up and die was the message. Many wanted me to choose not my purpose spouse, but I chose to do purpose, so my purpose spouse was selected. No rumors could detour me from what I was born to do. I ignored them and left them talking shh. I wasn't interested in what they had cooked up for me. They had to watch me on their screen doing my purpose with a smile on my face. Seal. Livian, shame. They were used like a condom and shame like a woman that urinates on herself in public.
public. The Lord already showed me what was mine, and I needed no other. They were being shut down, and the longer they hold on to what's mine, the more the Lord and God strike them to let go. They witnessed my every word came to pass, and they had to let go of all that belongs to me. Their son pass, daughter pass, mother pass, father pass, because they love to kill to obtain. They wanted to sacrifice me, but the Lord saved me from them and let them wear shame like makeup. They were next to pass. I wore them with my knowledge and laugh when they gather in team. They only make it more easier for me. Spiritual nuclear bomb bombed them to pieces. They wanted to negotiate, but I was finished talking. Their time was up. They took all that didn't want to release. Lightning and thunderball drop on them. Spiritual fire rained down on them. Many saw them holding their head and crying, but they couldn't see why. Because it was spiritual war. God was collecting all that they stole from me, and the Lord was beating them with the lightning whip. Some tried to run away and made it worse on themselves. They had to confess and release. Spiritual armor was put in at aisle, then used to nail them to their crosses, the same way they did me. They thought they could take my things and get away. None smile, torment night and day. Fasting and prayer couldn't help them, because they hurt me, and I activated their karma. They got away with many, but I was the one to repay them for all who they cross. They walked thousands of miles to get rid of me, and my ancestors point them out to me, so none could friend me to harm me. They were in white, but their heart were blacker than a dark night. They only had physical status and physical position. Spiritually, they were at basic level, with a lot to learn. Many thought I was weak to flesh, but they found themselves weak to me instead of me being weak to them. Spiritual PP7 burst their bubble like balloon. The river that they went to bury me spiritually, the mermaid torment them, and they were forced to go and pull the knot. The sea demon that they offer me to as sacrifice turned on them, because it couldn't touch me, so it took their child as payment. The graveyard that they bury me spiritually, the spirit torment them, and they were forced to dig up what they buried. Disaster and chaos were taking them for all who follow them to see. The cotton tree that they bury me under, they had to go back and undo the ritual that they did. All had to get up at 12 and 3 to undo what they did. God was slapping them with no mercy. Shame, shame, shame was over their life. The public scorned them and avoided their presence. Even their children wanted nothing to do with them, because they were wickeder than a lion eating a goat kid. The same come out to nothing rituals that they did on me slap their own belly pain. They thought they could devour me like the others, but I didn't came to be devoured. I came to set the record straight and balance the scale, because it was unbalanced. So as they rise up against me, my spiritual saw squad power saw them down. My army was ready for anything or anyone that think they can stop the Lord and God plan. See, Livian, not ungrateful. In my desolate moments, the Lord and God showed up for me, so I couldn't be ungrateful to my source of help. I couldn't abandon my ancestors. I had to show my gratitude by not giving up. In time of rain and sun, I got sheltered in my broken and lowest moment. The Lord raised me up and put me on a rock to stand. God shield me from the wolves and snake, pretending to be Christians. The Lord exposed them to the public, and the masks were being removed. I dedicated my life to serve the Lord and do my purpose, and none could stop me on my journey. I see the rising of them and also the fall of all who betrayed the Lord, so I didn't add myself to the list. Loyal to the Lord was written beside my name, because I remember where I was taken from, and how shame was put on my foe's face when the Lord put me up. Many wanted me to abandon my faith, but I didn't. I pursued and left them where they could only look up on me. I kept my promise, and the Lord honored me with a treasure, and I never had to search for food or money again. Rich mentally, spiritually, and physically, my faith took me in rooms that only God could open, so I couldn't be ungrateful to the Lord and God. Some that do their best to kidnap me spiritually were being reported missing, couldn't be found. Some went to the witch with my name, and when she heard my name, she run them out of her dwelling because she know it was suicide to rise up against me. They were planning to kill, steal, and destroy, but the table turned, and they were standing on the other side, facing their own bullets. The Lord and God strengthened me to destroy all that came up against me. I step on all who seek to hold me back, foot in face with every step that I make. I am grateful for all that the Lord and God bless me with. My sacrifice to wait on the Lord put a smile on my face that couldn't be erased no matter what came at me. The spiritual gig spin in my favor. My enemies drop off the earth like big numbers from calendar. Some were running, think they could run, but they already were being gassed. So no matter where they run to, fire was behind, chasing them, not giving up. Some thought they were sneaking, but the spiritual sword swing and eliminate all that stand in my way. It didn't matter how they team up. The Spirit of God was alive and well, so no force could overpower me, none. My ancestors march out on them like the month of March and tie them to a wooden post and throw dry wood at their feet and gas and light. Spiritual fire, spiritual torment, spiritual confusion, spiritual chaos, spiritual thunderball drop on them, spiritual disaster run in them like a car that got out of control and run into a business place. Seal.
Don't play with God. Don't play with God.
Livian, shield. Some were planning to rob and got robbed out before they could make a move. My ancestors wasn't taking any talk. Instant execution greet them. Some were watching, thinking they could jump me to take away my belongings, and their own friend murder them and stuff them in a barrel like rubbish. They thought it was physical war, but they were the last to know that it was spiritual. No mercy was shown to none that team up against me. My shield was unbreakable. None of their attack could reach me. It all bounced back on them and delete them for the others to see their outcome. Weak they were to flesh, so they fall like Goliath. Spiritual dunks they were, acting as if they were untouchable, and God strike them down for the public to see. Upliftment was written beside my name, so the more they tried to bury me, I came up taller and stronger. Them that write my name and put it in shoes to walk on it got elephantitis as punishment. Their foot swell like the foot of an elephant to teach them something they would never forget. All who tried to hold me down had to watch me sail and fly. None could cut my speed. They face chaos and disaster when they try. No warning greet none that oppose me. Instant rub out. Some were seeking for a weakness, and I passed all the tests that they dash at me as if they weren't trying. I ignore all haters and pass them as if they were not in existence. I waited on the Lord, and my glory days were being restored. My upliftment was a testimony for the world to listen. I shocked them like current to barefoot man. They doubted me, and I rise past them and left them in a maze, fighting to find their way out. I kept climbing like a hiker and didn't look down. I wasn't afraid of heights, but they were, so they had to watch me climb out of sight. My third eye opened, so I saw them clear. Their every plot and plan revealed. I watched them trying to stop me, and their own plot backfired on them and destroyed them. They tried hard to hold me down and had to let me go. Spiritual Mach 9, bust head like bear battle, dash the wall. All control that they had over my life were all being cancelled. None could use me or manipulate my energy. I reclaim my power and dismiss all puppet master. The more they tried to keep me from doing my purpose, the more they lost their life in the process. All eclipse moon ritual that was done on me were all being lifted and returned to caster and sender. I was set free from all bondage, mentally, physically, spiritually. All spiritual slave master choke on their own greed and died. Many wanted me to abandon God, but I couldn't because God was a part of me and I was a part of God. No separation of me and God was possible. I and God was one, working together to put shame on the face of them that wanted to destroy me and the Lord plan.
The clock was ticking, and every attempt to stop me blow up in their face and make them look like more fool to the public. I came with reality, and my words touched the heart of many, because God was speaking through me. They had to cancel all ban over my life. Time was ticking away, and the more they hesitate, the more they experience disaster and chaos. And it increased daily and nightly. They had to free up,
Don't
free
play
up,
with God.
free up.
Don't
See
play
it.
with God.
Don't play with God.
Don't